What's going on, everybody? I'm just coming live to tell you different people's reaction to President Trump's airstrike on the Syrian army. I'm at my new place here now. I don't have Wi-Fi, so let me know if the live stream is strong or if it's a little shaky, and then I'll figure out if I could even do live streams before I get Wi-Fi, so just let me know. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, President Trump did a complete 180 on what he wanted to do in Syria today. Over 50 Tomahawk missiles from a U.S. Navy ship hit the place where they believe that the chemical weapons came. They believe that the chemical weapons came from a plane and that they, were launched by the Syrian army. And I want to say, me personally, I'm not sure what to think yet. I don't like to jump to conclusions, and I am not even sure if the attacks really came from Syria. But I wanted to tell you a few different people's reaction, and I'm hoping amongst, the sadness of war that we can maybe get on the same page and unite a little bit. One of the person who reacted very strongly, which was interesting, was Paul Joseph Watson. If you guys don't know Paul Joseph Watson, he's a very big Trump supporter, very vocal, maybe one of the biggest on YouTube and Twitter. And he said, "I'm officially off the Trump train. Donald Trump's playing along with the neocons and the war hawks, and I'm off." And why I found that especially interesting, and what I think people should know, is he's been accused, I've seen from major media sources, from people I consider intelligent. They call him a white supremacist and a neo-Nazi, all sorts of terrible fake things that he never was. And I want to show people that Paul Joseph Watson, he says he's off the Trump train because of war. So you guys were absolutely wrong about most Trump supporters, if not 99% of Trump supporters. Everybody's not racist and sexist. A lot of people just didn't want war, and they didn't want Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama's war policy. So Paul Joseph Watson says he's off the ship. Mike Cernovich says he's done. Tulsi Gabbard, who was very supportive of Trump and interested in working with him in Syria, because Tulsi Gabbard actually met with Bashar al-Assad and went to Syria herself, and she's very upset. Ron Paul is very upset. Like I said myself, I'm just waiting to see what happens, because I've heard from both sides. People ask my stance. I've gotten a lot of messages. Most messages from me were that they were a false flag. There was a lot of evidence saying that it was a false flag. A lot of the pictures seemed fake. But I also got a few messages that said that Bashar al-Assad is really not a good person. And I'm still kind of on the fence. I need a little more information because, one, I've been moving to my new apartment, so I haven't had a lot of time to really investigate the whole thing. But I'm on both sides because, at least for now, we do have to understand, I believe, that people, they don't want war. Of course, nobody wants war. I don't want regime change. I don't want more innocent civilians. But there are some bad people in the world. There's some relationships with Syria, with China, and with Putin where, with Russia, that the answer that we all want might not be the true answer. We don't know the full truth, and I've heard from people that Bashar al-Assad is not a good person. I have a very good friend and someone I trust very greatly. One of the news sources I trust the most, my friend Trey Yingst, who is a White House correspondent, and he works for One American News Network. Before he was a White House correspondent, he's been very interested in helping people overseas. That's like his main passion, besides doing the reporting stuff. And he's always told me that Assad and Russia are the ones killing civilians. So he believes that. I've heard from people that have family in Syria that they like Bashar al-Assad. I've heard from Syrians myself that are fans of my channel that Bashar al-Assad is a good leader and they trust him and they support him, and that the whole narrative is a lie. And there's a few things I need a little more to come to light, but the whole reason I liked Donald Trump was because he was different from the narrative. Like, the things that they were doing before is they got caught paying a British PR firm, Obama and the Hillary team, the past puppet politicians. They were paying a British PR team $500 million, paying a British PR team $500 million to make fake Al-Qaeda videos. They got caught doing this, literally paying $500 million to create fake Al-Qaeda propaganda. So to me, I can't trust any of them. Hillary, Obama, I'm so glad they're gone. Don't trust them whatsoever. There's two options right now that I truly believe. I think either one, Donald Trump was infiltrated or lied to by the deep state, by past politicians. You see MSNBC cheering him on. They're happy. John McCain's ecstatic. Dick Cheney's ecstatic. All of the terrible warmongering politicians are ecstatic because regardless of what people in America believe, the liberal side that thought this was all about sex and race, this is not at all what this president was about. It was truly about the war, as they call it, the New World Order, globalism, whatever you want to call it. It's not a conspiracy. There's a lot of people organizing, working together, and they're trying to just, steamroll over the entire world. And they had a specific plan for Syria. One of the biggest things, and that's one of the biggest things I know a lot of Trump voters voted for him for, because he's not a puppet, he's not a warmongering puppet, and one of two things happened. Either Donald Trump got convinced and lied to by these warmongers that, hey, this is Syria, you have to attack Syria. Or a second possibility is that, Bashar al-Assad actually did use chemical weapons. Donald Trump had the intel, the true intel that said that he did use chemical weapons, and he was trying to send him a message. So I'm still waiting. I think this is one of those things, unfortunately, that we're not going to know the full truth for at least a couple more days or a week. And that is why I wish he would have not attacked, because I would have liked a few more information to come out. There's a lot of reports that the white helmets who are on the ground in Syria, they're a propaganda team. There's a lot of confusion there, and especially when our past politicians have been literally creating fake propaganda to create fake storylines to convince the American public to go to war. I think we should have been a little more patient on it. However, it is a little suspicious because Donald Trump's whole thing was, I'm not going to go after Bashar al-Assad. He was siding with Tulsi Gabbard and saying that, you know what, I'm not going to go after Bashar al-Assad. So from that, there's one of two possibilities I think are true. Either I think the deep state, politicians like John McCain, they staged a false flag attack where they did all this chemical weapon stuff to convince Donald Trump to attack them. I absolutely think that's a possibility. Or number two, because Donald Trump said he wasn't going to attack Bashar al-Assad and his government, his army, could have got a little bit bold, because now all of a sudden they're not being attacked and they're not being pressured. They could have got a little bold. I just don't understand why someone would do that to civilians like that, especially Bashar al-Assad, knowing that he's going to be a little safer from the United States military. I just don't know why he would gas innocent civilians. But like I said, I've had intel who've said two things. One, that he's a good president, and I have had people tell me that, this guy is a bad guy, just like his father. People tell me that Bashar al-Assad, he kills civilians who don't agree with him. So, I don't mean to play the fence. I don't mean to play the side. It's just truly how I feel right now. I really want to see more of what's going on, because I think Syria is very confusing. There's a lot of terror organizations. In the past, we've been funding them. That was the whole reason I really like Donald Trump, among other things, is that he said, one, I'm going to cut off the funding to Al-Qaeda, ISIS, all of these groups, moderate rebels that past politicians like Obama were funding. So Trump said, I'm going to cut that off, and I'm going to leave Bashar al-Assad alone. He just said that. Rex Tillerson just said that last week or 2 weeks ago, and they're already bombing them immediately. So, it's very sad. I think regime change is bad, just like Trump has said multiple times. That's what he ran a lot of his foreign policy campaign on. He said Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, they killed Gaddafi, they killed Saddam, and they left it a mess. And many people that I love and respect, like Tulsi Gabbard and Ron Paul, who are very unbiased, and they've been the most supportive politicians of Trump, and as well as people like Mike Cernovich and Paul Joseph Watson, very smart Trump supporters, they all seem very unhappy with this decision to attack. But like I said, I'm a little more level-headed, where I truly do believe, there's some sick things going on. I know even in the United States, like I always talk about, the pharmaceutical industry, the advertising, I think is absolutely disgusting. So although it's something that I couldn't personally fathom doing, I think people do have to understand, to be a little more patient, to realize there are really disgusting people out there. And one thing I think the United States of America has been conditioned to believe, and it's a lot of the reason for the blowback to Donald Trump, is we've been conditioned to believe that we're the only terrible people in the world. And I think we have done our fair share of very bad moves, and we've hurt a lot of people, but the United States is not the only bad person in the world. Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, they're not the only bad leaders, maniacal leaders. I think we have to understand that there's a lot of countries doing a lot of things. And if a lot of leaders and countries were in the United States' position of power, they would do the same terrible things, if not much worse. So I think we have to be realistic of the fact of like, hey, this isn't what I wanted personally. I'm a little bit upset of the attack. I would have much rather patience and just really try to get to the bottom of the attacks, given that we've staged and framed so many attacks. It's like a system of like, okay, here's what, and some of the time we've caught in the past, it wasn't even a real event that happened. It was just PR. It was like a green screen or, a field and something that was filmed, put out to the American public, and then that influenced military moves based off complete fake PR. So I absolutely believe, someone said 0 people died. I think one of two things. I think either he got lied to, or 2, I think people do truly need to understand that Bashar al-Assad might not be a great person. And, if he's really chemical gassing innocent civilians, then something does need to be taken care of. But I think patience is key here. I think we'll find out the truth within the next couple of weeks. But like I said, a lot of Trump supporters are very, 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 very upset. And I want to take this moment to turn this into a positive. I want to show people who are Hillary Clinton supporters or progressives or, people that don't traditionally like Donald Trump and they think all his supporters are ignorant. I know firsthand that most of them, if not all of them, are not. I've gotten thousands of messages from Trump supporters and none of them had to do with race. Like, no one even talks about being racist or sexist. Like, it's the complete opposite. So now you see a lot of these main Trump supporters like Mike Cernovich and Paul Joseph Watson and even people like Ron Paul and Tulsi Gabbard who are supporting Trump. That's what they cared about. They don't even care about race or religion or sex. They care about war. They don't want war to escalate, and they care about safety. So I think if there's one positive thing we could take from this event, it's that, hey, we're all kind of the same. We're not that different. We all want safety, security, peace, and no more war, no more expansion. And you could see maybe this can bring people closer together and realize, hey, Paul Joseph Watson, he's not a neo-Nazi white supremacist. He's just a smart guy who understands that there's really war happening, a lot of corruption and nonsense. So once again, to really wrap it up, there were 50 plus Tomahawk missiles shot at a Syrian base where they said that the planes were that conducted the chemical attacks. This is a complete reversal of Trump's strategy, but I do want to say, let's wait it out, and we're not going to know the true truth. And hopefully he did get intel that said that, that he should attack that. And I want to say this, even if it was a lie by, the deep state and the media and neocons and neoliberals who convinced them, I still prefer Donald Trump much more than any politician we've ever had, because do you see how he could turn on a dime? Yes, this can be bad. Yes, this can potentially be dangerous, but that's the problem with past politicians. They don't turn on a dime. They have a clear tunnel vision, and it doesn't have to do with helping anybody in particular. So I think, hopefully he can get us out of this, and hopefully it was the right decision. It just kind of worries me that Hillary Clinton, John McCain, all of these war hawks, warmongers, neoliberals, and neocons are very excited, and MSNBC is excited. It's pretty disgusting to see all these, fake liberals and fake politicians get so excited at war. It's like they can't agree with, Donald Trump on everything, but he bombs a few planes and all of a sudden they're ecstatic and they love him. That's because these politicians, all they care about is war. I'd love to see your comments after I finish this video, see what you guys think. But I will say, like I said, the reaction, Ron Paul, a lot of people on the fence were very unhappy. I'm not thrilled, but I will say, honestly, I'm not as disappointed as other people, because I understand that there's a bigger picture being played, and that's kind of my flaw, or that's kind of my problem with like peaceful people who say completely, take all of our armies out of the Middle East and whatnot. I've never felt that way, because I truly think, as much as I don't like war and I don't like intervening on other countries, war has been a part of the world forever. It's just now that we're evolving our conscious and our mind and our soul. We're evolving to the point where we're like, hey, why are we even fighting war? That's a new thing. We didn't have that luxury to not fight wars 50, 60 years ago. It's been ingrained in human culture and human history, sadly, forever. So we're getting out of that now, and you have a lot of leaders who have been through a lot of real wars and real situations. So I don't agree, as much as I love Ron Paul and I think he's like really great for the world, I don't agree with the no military, at all, and get out of the Middle East, because I have a funny feeling that if we weren't all over the Middle East, somebody else would be there, and they wouldn't be so kind to the United States possibly. So that's how I feel. I really trust Tulsi Gabbard. So, the fact that she's upset tells me a little bit. I really respect and trust her. But, I would like to research and study a little more and be a little more patient to see where the chemical attacks really came. I would hope that Donald Trump wouldn't be that quick to shoot missiles off if he didn't have real evidence, and not from the deep state, not from people he already knows not to trust. I don't think he's a dummy. I think he knows that the deep state is coming after him, so hopefully he had some intelligence that said the chemical weapons came from there. And, there's some people that say other countries have also, had on their radar that the chemical weapons indeed did come from there. And I want to say real quick before I leave, what I also find a little weird is that, of course chemical weapons should be banned, they should be frowned upon, but I think this maybe can be like a uniting point for the world, because you have Netanyahu happy, you have Trump, all these people coming together who kill innocent civilians either by a mistake or on purpose, sometimes an attack. So it's like, okay, the whole world can condemn chemical attacks, that's all fine and dandy, like we all can decide, hey, chemical attacks have no place in this world, but why can't we understand drone attacks don't have a place in this world? Because during the Obama administration, 90% of drone strikes killed innocent civilians. So why was there no outcry about 90% civilian drone strike killings? But all of a sudden now it's like, hey, we can all agree that, people dying, innocent people getting murdered in any sort of way should be denounceable. So, I think it's just kind of odd that all these leaders are like, yeah, this is no good, but these are the same leaders that are constantly killing innocent civilians. So, a lot of different games being played. A lot of it has to do with oil, a pipeline in Syria. A lot of it has to do with military and strategic positioning. And, another positive to try to stay on the positive end, because you're gonna have a lot of people being negative and jumping off ship and saying this is the worst thing in the world. I think this does show two things to be positive. One, it shows that Trump is not messing around. It shows a clear message to North Korea, China, and also Russia. And another good thing that I think came out of this, not that I'm saying it's great, but to play devil's advocate to show the positives, it's showing people that literally the mainstream media for the last year has been running with the Russia narrative that Donald Trump is Putin's puppet. He's a puppet. He's Putin's puppet. All he does is play with Putin. There's even art in Los Angeles that has him and Putin like kissing. It's disgusting. But it shows that he's clearly not Putin's puppet. So all of the fake social justice warriors and liberal media, extreme leftist media that lies all the time, I think it's very clear at this point that Donald Trump is not Putin's puppet, because if he was Putin's puppet, he would not have attacked Assad's Air Force, because Putin and Assad work together. So that's why a lot of people are upset, because they're saying, whoa, this is bad. This is going to be a regime change. Innocent people are going to be killed if you try to take out Assad. It could possibly start a nuclear war with Russia. That's what a lot of people are saying, But like I said, to play a positive, maybe then people can shut up about the Russia narrative. Now, the Russia, shut up about that. Can we end the stupid Russia shit? Because we can't have any real intelligent conversations because people have been blabbing about this fake Russian news forever. So this at least proves that he's not Putin's puppet. He's not a Russian puppet. I truly think even if he did do the attack, I still don't think Donald Trump is a neocon. I don't think he's a warmonger like a lot of Trump supporters are convincing him of. A lot of them that jumped off ship, they're saying, oh, he's a neocon, he's a deep state tool. Personally, I'm not ruling it out, but I don't think that. I just think if it was the wrong move, that I believe, they told him that. A lot of people, he's surrounded by a lot of globalists, so to speak, people that want their certain, regime change and all that stuff. He's surrounded by them. He's surrounded by them on his team for foreign policy. So, it's been known for months that he didn't exactly drain that swamp, or he was surrounded by people that might not have his and the United States' best interests at heart. And also, I wanted to take note with his team's constantly being attacked. They're trying to take out anybody that's not who they want to be there. So, people in his cabinet are being just constantly attacked. So it's like, I still don't, I can't say I'm hopping off the train and that I think he's a terrible person. I just don't feel that way. I have to be a little patient and let it see how it play out. But once again, to stay positive, I want to say this shows people too that Donald Trump supporters, they're not all blind. They're not all just, oh, whatever he does. Like, that's the narrative that's been written. They're sexist. They're racist. All they do is, they'll do whatever he says. And some of the most prominent Trump supporters hopped off the train. They said, F this, I'm done with him. I think that at least proves to people that Donald Trump supporters are not puppets. They're not stupid. And they're not just blindly following him. They're highly intellectual. And they're watching what happens. They're letting it play out. So that's a positive to me. It shows that people are not just one-track minded. They're not just going to praise him no matter what he does. I think every president deserves criticism, and the more people that are awake from the Trump side, from the Obama-Hillary side, and from the Bernie side, whatever, Gary Johnson, whoever you like, if you don't like anyone, the more people that are awake, that's how we win. It's not going to be from one president. It's not going to be from one airstrike. It's going to be for millions of people coming together, uniting, having conversations, and figuring out what's going on, because people all over the world want peace. It's just we're all fighting on a micro level. We're all arguing. We can't figure out how to unite. We don't know what to do. So, I have high hopes for the human race and for America. I think this can bring us together in a weird way, and it also slashes a lot of stupid fake narratives that the mainstream media has been speaking of. A lot of people have been talking in the comments. I'm going to check it out. Like I said, I'm looking to go deeper into it. I've heard both sides. I've heard that it was a false flag. Ron Paul thought it was a false flag. A lot of Trump supporters thought it was a false flag. Tulsi Gabbard was trying to get to the bottom of it, and Trump didn't wait. He just attacked. So to me, I don't know the truth. I think there's absolutely a possibility that it was a false flag, that it was either the deep state or terrorists, or the deep state and terrorists working together, or possibly Turkey, who knows, or it really was Assad. There's a lot of people who also say, you know what, even though the United States should not do regime change and they shouldn't bomb all these people, there's a lot of people that say Bashar al-Assad is not a good person. Regardless of how bad Hillary and Obama and the stuff they do is, it doesn't mean, it's the same thing with the election. Just because you hate one person, it doesn't mean that one person's the hero. That's what a lot of people felt. They're like, I hate that person, so this person's great. That's not how things work. There's always the possibility that, these people are not doing the right thing, but that doesn't mean Bashar al-Assad is a saint. Just because we don't like Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, that doesn't mean that Bashar al-Assad is the greatest leader in the world, but it also doesn't mean that he's a terrible leader and that he is doing the chemical attacks. I think these things will come to light, hopefully in the next couple of days or a week, concrete evidence, and I believe in the people. Stay vigilant, stay focused, and stay digging for the truth. Let me know, message me. A lot of people messaged me really great things all week. I haven't had a time to look at all of that, but I've seen both sides, and I definitely think that there's a possibility that Trump bit the bait a little bit too early. But once again, I think there's a strong possibility that Bashar al-Assad did use chemical weapons, but I just don't know why he would do that at a time like this. And on that same note, I don't know why anybody would ever use chemical weapons on people. It's a terrible, disgusting thing, but these are things that some people apparently do because someone did it, unless it was a staged PR attack, which is also not out of the ruling because that's happened too. Thank you guys for sticking with me. As I said, I'm not hopping off the train. I think it's going to take a lot of more research and patience. So thank you guys for listening to me. That's about it. Have a good week. I will do my best to get more information to you. I have a lot of good video concepts. I've been very busy moving a lot of stuff to my new apartment, and yeah, you know, it's been a really, I won't even say rough week, but a busy week. It's unfortunate too because I got a lot of really good ideas to make videos for, but things are great. Thank you for the support, and much love to you and your family. You know, stay peaceful, stay optimistic, and keep interacting with me. Let me know your side of the story, the evidence you have, and let's try to get to the bottom of this together. Thank you.